Sorry, Chris.
Hey, everybody.
Oops. Oh. Chris McDonough of the Interview Room and Cold Case Foundation, a homicide detective extraordinaire, as I like to call him, and somebody who is well-versed in the missing. We're so happy to have you on. How are you, Chris? Good to see you.
Great to be seen, Josh. And I don't know what just happened, but that was pretty cool because I was looking at the chat and about ready to say hi to everybody. Hi, Lab Rats and Laura. How are you? See all of our friends. It's great to be here. Thanks for the invite.
Oh man, thank you for being here, and it's always a pleasure to have you on. And gosh, we've been doing these for quite a while now, and yes, we have. And I look forward to all of them. I know that today, in particular, is the 3-year anniversary of the Idaho killings, which it does sort of feel like yesterday, but it also feels like a long time ago too. And how far it's.
This is Chris McDonough, former homicide detective, host of the Interview Room, and one of the interrogators sued over the wrongful accusation of 3 teenage boys in the Stephanie Crowe murder case. In that case, a federal appeals court described the interrogation of those innocent kids as grueling and psychologically abusive. Today, that same detective is on YouTube, publicly profiling the stepfather and mother of missing teenager Sebastian Rogers, and Josh from the lab is giving him the floor.
Of yours was, and I was actually listening to his testimony just the other night. Mark Tinsley.
Yeah, Mark's pretty cool.
Yeah. So I watched the other day, it came up where he was being cross-examined. I don't know if you've seen his cross-examination in the Alex Murdaugh trial, where the defense lawyers, he is probably one of the most brutal takedowns of a defense attorney I've ever seen in my life. Absolutely brilliant, genius, almost to the point of entertaining and then embarrassing for the defense. I just thought I think he's him and his wife both, and I believe they have a new podcast out as well. I don't have the name for it, but I see if I can find it. But make sure to sub up to them. They just seem like great people, and you just had them on a few weeks ago. I noticed as well.
Yeah, Stephanie and Mark are amazing people, and I think her podcast is What They Missed.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's doing really, really well.
I would imagine. They're both really sharp people, and very grounded. And like I said, when I watched it the other day, and it's like he goes on with the guy for about 30 minutes or so, and it's like chess and checkers with him. He's slick, he's smart. You could tell he's smart, but he's also he's very measured, humble, doesn't get upset, about things. And so anyway, check out the Interview Room. Great content over there. But you look great, Chris. How are you? You look healthy.
Well, artificial intelligence just does wonders for a lot of people. I feel great. Karen and I are doing well. We had a little scare with Buddy the other night, though. He must have eaten something because he was lethargic all night. And I thought for sure, oh my gosh, he's having some heart issue or something was going to happen. And I just prayed and, I laid down next to him. You ever done that with your dog when they're sick? And he put his little nose up against mine, and I was just talking to him, and I thought, okay, if he makes it through tonight, we're good to go. And he did, thank goodness. We woke up the next day, and he was lethargic all day though. And I thought, oh man, there's something going on. Do I rush him? Do I take him in, or did he eat something? And I thought, you know what? I think he ate something. So took him on a walk. Massive blowout. 3-alarm fire. 911, what's your emergency? I got a Jack Russell who just started a fire from his rear, and said we're en route. And once that happened, it was like, holy crap, not literally, but I took him home.
Josh presents Chris as a trusted expert, a seasoned detective, connected to high-profile cases like Idaho and Murdaugh. What the audience doesn't hear here is the other half of his resume, the civil rights lawsuit that said his interrogation tactics helped push innocent teens toward criminal charges. Keep that in mind when you hear how confidently he starts labeling Sebastian's stepfather and mother based on a single heated interaction with a private investigator.
I have some interesting audio that was released just the other day, and some people have talked about it, and I've listened to it, and I played it on my After Dark a little bit, and this is about the Sebastian Rogers case. This sort of kind of gives you an insight into what was going on within like sort of the first 50 days, how of this investigation. And I was just curious to get maybe your reaction to it. We can listen to it, and then when you want to react to it, you just obviously hey, stop, or whatever you want to do. So we can do that if you're up for it.
Absolutely.
Very good.
Hey,
Are you the woman that trespassed my property yesterday?
I actually didn't. I walked down your neighbor's property and then down the easement and then up the other
That's not
side.
an easement. I own that. That's my property.
Well, the fence says no trespassing. I didn't come on the property.
That is my property.
The easement, that's a public
I
easement.
own it. It's mine. I own it.
I am here to try to clear you.
I
So
need you to clear me.
I don't know why you're being defensive with me.
Okay, so can I ask you a question?
Absolutely.
First, can you identify yourself?
I did already. My name's Heather, private investigator.
Well, you're coming to my house. And you're
I am. I'm investigating the disappearance of your stepson. So do you want him found or no? Because if you do, then why would you have a problem with me coming to talk to you guys?
Well,
Real simple, because we're asking you questions and you're telling us that you can't answer those questions. So why should we answer any?
I absolutely did not trespass.
there's no such thing.
There's
as a public
nothing.
easement.
There is a such thing as a public easement. It's not posted.
I own it. I have signs on.
Okay, your fence has a sign. I didn't
Just
talk
3
about
foot inside of the
Okay,
property.
take it up with, if you want to report it to law enforcement, do it. Take it up with them. I am trying to help, okay? So if you want somebody to help you, that's what I'm doing.
Okay, well,
So calm down, talk to me like civil human beings. I'm trying to help find him. I've been talking to sex offenders in the area.
Law enforcement has done that.
Okay, and I'm going to do it too, because I'm working it too. And I have that right, and the person that hired me has that right. Anybody has that right.
He's also blatantly accusing me of murder when I didn't.
I haven't accused you of
I didn't
shit.
say you did. I said he did.
Okay, well, I'm trying to decide who is on my radar and who is not. I've talked to sex offenders. That is my focus.
Go ahead.
So how does this get to be a three-way call? Do we know?
I think Heather called Katie,
Yeah.
and that Chris was in the background. Like, he's not actually, I think he's there with her. And so he kind of is hovering over the call. And you'll hear later on in the call that he makes it very clear that nobody's to talk to his wife without him.
This call is about 50 days into Sebastian's disappearance. A private investigator hired by Sebastian's family is trying to talk to his mom, Katie, and stepfather, Chris Proudfoot. They're angry about trespassing. They're defensive. They're arguing over property lines and GoFundMe pages. It's emotional. It's messy. But watch what happens when this hits Chris McDonough's filter. Instead of just hearing a stressed family, he hears evidence.
You're not talking to her by herself, period.
Okay.
You're not going to talk to my
Okay,
wife.
fine. Set up.
What do you think of that, Chris? What do you think? She's a private investigator. She has no, jurisdiction to, arrest or charge or anything like that. She's just that she's hired to help. And Chris saying, 50 days in, you're not going to talk to my wife by herself. Is that, what's that?
Period.
It's not happening. Nobody's talking to her by herself. Is that just being a protective husband, or do you think that's like a let me spearhead this situation? Because this was sort of what happened with Dawn as well, where, he became the spokesperson for the family, and that he feared Candace talking to anybody without him directing the narrative.
Well, let's just back up just for a second, okay? Have I left the house?
No.
Okay. And then when you hear stuff like this, you go, okay, well, let's apply common sense here. And that common sense is pretty clear that it's control, dominance, and power. And he is displaying that. If your child if there's nothing going on anywhere, anyhow, no cats, no, coming out of the hat, no rabbits, no nothing, then you cooperate with the authorities. It's that simple. Or you at least have a sense of decency because your child is missing to say to somebody, anybody. And yeah, granted, people respond, differently, emotionally, etc. But
Here's the pattern. In the Crowe case, McDonough was part of an interrogation team that read teenage boys' behavior as suspicious, and they were wrong. In this stream, he takes a father saying, "You're not talking to my wife without me there," and elevates it straight into control, dominance, power, and a sign of deception. There's no body cam, no full case file, no full interview, just one stressed phone call. But he's already treating his behavioral read like evidence that something darker is going on.
you poke him, okay, and say, go. And he'll blow, like he's headed to Mars with Elon Musk.
Can you show me? Because I
I can
didn't.
show you all 4 no trespassing signs.
They're on
And
the
if you want,
fence.
You can go on the city and you can look at the property line and you can.
I mean, they're on the
That's it.
fence. I wouldn't jump
I
your
own it.
fence.
I own it. Half of that is mine, half of that is theirs. That's why they turned it in and they turned it into the police.
I'm sorry, what? I think that when there's a no trespassing sign on the fence, that means you don't go into the fence. I'm not going to go into the fence.
Negative. Actually, that's wrong.
Okay, well, I'm not sure how I would know that. All right, well, I'm not really, I'm just not really sure how anybody would know that easement is yours.
Step out of your car.
Chris Kiki, 2025 True Crime says, with them being at TBI in Jackson, Mississippi, would that indicate that the investigation is over state lines jurisdiction? I don't think so, but this is up. I think they'll meet with anybody anywhere if that's where they are. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, if he's down in Memphis or where, maybe that's the closest TBI office. It's a field office, but they would have one in Memphis too.
He just must not be there.
Yeah, I don't know.
Hold on a second.
The other day, and you walked onto the property. When my neighbor saw you,
Oh,
and my
walked
neighbor
right past
across
the
the
neighbor.
street saw you, turn around. Where they saw you, now got you on camera, walking your ass through my property, right next to my fucking driveway. You walked past 3 fucking signs, woman, 3. Don't tell me you didn't see them. They're on the fucking fence. You just said it on this camera, and I got news for you. Because you've done that, you have violated trespassing.
I was actually trying to stay on the outside of your property. Okay, well, I don't know how I would know that that's not.
Add the detectives into this so that they can see her and find out what she.
I just left the sheriff's department. I talked to Tim Bailey. I talked to Sheriff Weatherford. I've been talking to all of them. So anyway.
Okay, well, first off.
But why is this the.
I mean, is the reaction, does the reaction fit the offense?
It's beautiful.
I mean, what does this not, I mean, to me, this just shows like what an explosive temper that he has. I'm not accusing him of anything except being volatile at this point. And that's what this is. He's being volatile towards somebody that he's never met, that he feels has wronged him by walking on his property. But, she's there to make peace and say, hey, look, it's not what I was meaning to do.
Focus instead of finding Sebastian. It's a waste of time right now. We're arguing over a property line, like when there's a missing child.
We're arguing over a fucking state.
I'm not showing up here to do anything to you.
Cold.
We're arguing over a fucking state.
I'm not showing up here to do anything to you except for find your son.
Stop. Heather, next time, don't argue with him. Just
Let him go.
roll with it. Yeah. Poke him and roll with it.
The thing is, I don't even think I don't even think she poked him. I think he poked himself.
Of course. Well, that's natural, right?
Yeah.
It's
I think
still- You know what we should do, Josh?
What's that?
Let's get one of his ex-wives on your show, and I'll come on.
Okay.
And we're gonna we'll poke the bear, and I'm sure I'm sure he'll go 0 to 60, 900, maybe 1,000. I'm not sure. I'll put a space helmet on, but I'd like to see him, respond a little bit more. Do you think maybe one of the audience members, if you know one of the gals, bring him up at some point? I know his last ex-wife with his daughter, where she was making allegations against him. I'd like to talk to her, see if she would talk out loud here.
Sure. Absolutely.
Because if he's this volatile over trespassing signs, let's prime the pump, man.
Not a threat to you.
Remember, this isn't just some random commentator saying poke the bear. This is a former detective who was sued for coercive, abusive interrogation tactics, now telling a YouTube audience that the way to handle Sebastian's stepfather is to deliberately provoke him, poke him, and use his rage against him. It's the same mindset: push people emotionally, then treat their reaction as proof they're dangerous or deceptive. In a missing child case, that's not neutral analysis. That's publicly turning a stepdad into a suspect in front of thousands of viewers.
Come back. Otis is just being difficult. All right. So we got a little more of this here. Okay.
This whole sex offender bullshit. So if there's anything to it and someone took him and it's trafficking, where would they go? Right. Because if he were within 5 miles of this house, there's
Chicken lips. I have voluptuous lips.
See, even she doesn't believe it. She even said it there 30 seconds ago.
I know. She called it BS.
Yeah.
Let's hear that again.
no chance that he wouldn't have been found. Just found 11 missing kids, and
Right.
everybody's going after this whole sex offender bullshit. So if there's anything to it and someone took him and it's trafficking, where would they go? Right. Because if he were within 5 miles of this house, there's no chance that he wouldn't have been found. None.
Which, by the way, not true. Absolutely not true. If he was within 5 miles of that house, there's no way that he wouldn't have been found. Haley Anthony was 0.8 miles on the side of the road in a ditch, and they had huge turnout.
Yeah, but you know what she just said without saying it?
What?
You need to look out further than 5 miles.
I know. You need to look out further than 5 miles, and you need to check out the trafficking BS.
Because I know every single.
No, not the trafficking.
So if there's a.
It's a subtlety. It's called leakage. I mean, you see, you think, and she did this early on in the interview with the news too. Okay. Go back and play that again.
Anything to it, and someone took him, and
Yeah, no, but that's, I mean, is that how you feel? That's what you think is going on?
everybody keeps talking about trafficking and trafficking and trafficking, and they just found 11
stop.
missing kids.
See, what she's doing is transferring the conversation to other people. Okay. The reason that's happening is because internally she knows that's not the answer. Because she's saying everybody keeps talking about trafficking and trafficking and trafficking. And what's happening subconsciously is she's going, well, that's not what happened. That's not what happened. That's not what happened. Okay. And then she qualifies it. Go ahead.
And
Right.
everybody's going after this whole sex offender bullshit. So if there's anything to it,
See, she knows that's not true. So she's leaking subconsciously something going on internally. So in an interview, you would say to somebody like that, you know, it's interesting you brought that up. Help me understand what you mean. Okay. And let her elaborate even further. Okay. To the point where you can say, well, what's your theory? So let's listen to what happens.
and someone took him and it's trafficking, where would they go?
Right.
Because if he were within 5 miles of this house, there's no chance that he wouldn't have been found. None. Because I know every single.
You see how she positioned that?
Yeah. Yeah, it was almost kind of like, here, you go chase down this BS that I don't even believe. Here you go.
Well, she said, see, if he were within 5 miles of this house, okay? Okay, so you'd want to stop her and ask, do you know how far away he is? Why did you choose 5 miles as a reference point? Keep going.
Group, agency, technology,
Go back.
Yeah.
everything that was brought in. There's no chance he was within 5. He were within 5 miles of going on. Everybody keeps talking about trafficking and trafficking and trafficking, and they just found 11 missing kids, and
Right.
everybody's going after this whole sex offender bullshit. So if there's anything to it, and someone took him, and it's traffic.
By the way, don't look within 5 miles because he would have been found already.
Well, she knows it's not true.
That's a ridiculous thing to say. Why would you say that?
Here, McDonough goes even further. Katie is clearly emotional, defensive, and rambling, talking about trafficking, about how far searches went, and how people keep pushing sex offender theories. Chris doesn't treat that as a stressed mom talking. He treats it as subconscious confession. He calls it leakage. He says she knows trafficking is BS. He implies she might know Sebastian is farther than 5 miles away. This is the same style of hyper-confident, psychological decoding that burned innocent teenagers in the Crowe case. Only now it's not in a private interview room, it's on a monetized live stream about Sebastian Rogers.
Unless he's in the basement.
I think
Or
it's
In a basement. Did it in multiple ways. I don't think he's that close to home. Unless he's in a basement.
in a basement,
I was begging them to search farther.
which is still. I was begging them to search farther.
Okay.
This area has been
Even Heather, the PI, is like, what is going on here?
canvassed. They did. They did. If you can name it, they did it. And they did it in multiple ways. I don't think he's that close to home. Unless he's in a basement. I was begging them to search farther.
Okay.
This area has been canvassed.
Okay.
It's 50 days in. 50 days in.
I'm a
You-
mom too, baby. I get it. I do. I have a 15-year-old son as well. And you're doing a good job of keeping yourself together, which some people interpret badly.
Well, I'll be honest with you. Every one of them spineless cowards.
And we're back.
And action.
They got the
Rolling the
fucking
meat,
ball.
rolling the meat grinder.
It's the-
But let's stop for a second. So they are worried about something around that house because they're qualifying that the neighborhood's been canvassed, all these other things have been done. And then she says, something about the basement, unless he's in a basement. Okay. And some homes in Tennessee, that area, have basements, obviously, because of tornadoes. But they are worried, and this is why they go 0 to 60 about the trespassing signs. There's something in that environment that they do not want found. Something. I have no idea what that is. But
From one PI phone call, McDonough moves to open speculation that there's something in that environment they don't want found. Basement. Crawl space. Property. Construction background. None of this is coming from a search warrant affidavit. None of this is from a press conference. It's all coming from behavioral guesses on a YouTube show, the same man whose past guesses about guilt helped put innocent teens under the spotlight.
Where is he getting his medications? Where is Sebastian getting his prescriptions for his medications? If dad is involved, then for 2 years he's been buying him medication and providing it for his son that he's hiding out somewhere. Or if he was moved by other people, and let's say, the rumor of going up to Alaska and all this other stuff. Okay, remember, this isn't my first rodeo. Okay, that's not very hard to figure out, because you can just, through DEA, you can find out his medication patterns. If his prescription pattern has stopped 2 years ago on the date he disappeared, then guess what? There's a high probability he's not with us. And so you reverse engineer that back, because I know he was on multiple medications.
Yeah, and I see people in the chat saying that it wasn't necessary, but I believe that the press release from the FBI was saying that he's on medication that he needs.
Yeah, he needs it to survive.
That's what the press release said, I thought.
When I talked to Seth about it a long time ago. And so if his medications had stopped in any way, shape, or form, okay, then that's a huge red flag. I would want to hear the parents answer that question. What was his scheduling? What were the medications, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. And I'd like to hear, what those patterns are. Because I think if you had Seth come up here on this channel, he would tell you, oh, well, he was taking this, he was taking this, he was taking that, because he would have to give it to him when he would stay with him. Well, I want to hear that from the other people too, the Proudfoots. I want to hear his medication schedules, okay? And if that's the case, then why isn't that a big deal? Because medications are a pattern of life. And when those things start to dissipate, that pattern of life starts to change. And this is one of the things I would ask parents with missing children. I would ask them right up front, is your child on any medication? If so, what are they? And the parents that just know, boom, boom, right there. Okay. That's giving you an idea of empathy. That's giving you an idea of, hey, what's the deal here? But what's been interesting throughout this whole thing is if he has a medicated schedule of some sort, you haven't heard it from the mother. Not that I've heard, maybe somebody else has heard, but I don't think she's ever gone on TV and say he needs his medications. Okay. That's a huge red flag, because that, again, it projects this. Remember you and I early on, Josh, were talking about, I said there would be an evolution with Dawn.
Yeah.
Okay. So if somebody says HIPAA and all this other stuff, well, okay, but your son's missing. Don't you want the world to know that if you do find him, he needs his meds?
Yeah, and really quick into the chat, I understand that the meds were not keeping him alive. Nobody's saying that.
We're not saying that. But the meds were doing something.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, which is fine. Okay. The point being the conversation about medication, whether or not it's doing something or whatever, it's like arguing over, the trespassing signs. I don't care.
I know.
The fact that he was on meds, that's doing something, whatever it is. And HIPAA, I don't care about that stuff. I care about the chemicals going into his body that were potentially helping him get through a day, a moment, a time. Okay. And I'd like to know that. Can you text Seth and see if he's available? Let's have him jump up. I mean, who cares about HIPAA at this point? 2 years later, it should have been done the first week.
To be fair, some of this is legitimate investigative thinking, tracking prescriptions, looking at patterns of life, asking if meds continued after a disappearance. The problem is the confidence level he projects on stream. McDonough moves from this as something investigators could look at to if medication stopped, there's a high probability Sebastian isn't with us, without showing the audience any actual records. For viewers who trust him as the detective, these speculations sound like near facts. That's exactly how you build a narrative around people before the evidence is public.
I'm going to let you run.
I appreciate it.
You got a bunch of stuff up there. There's start. All right. As always, thank you.
Appreciate
so
it. We'll
much.
keep on. We'll keep talking about it.
Yes, definitely. Rock on. We'll keep moving. And Rats, it's great seeing everybody and some of our subs. Thank you guys so much for being here. We got another good one coming up on Sunday, so put your seatbelts on.
All right, Sunday, make sure to hit that like button and then click the notification bell for the interview room as well. And we'll put your link in the chat. Thank you so much, Chris.
Okay, have a good night, Josh. Thank you.
Take care. All right, guys, there was, I really appreciate it. And let me see here. Let me just say some thank yous. Sirius Black becoming a member. Deanna, Sharon, thank you for that. And Marlena, John, happy early birthday, Josh. I would have sent you some Just for Men. I don't need it yet, but thank you. And Nina Drew, thank you. With them being at the TBI, okay, so we answered that question. Thank you for your, can you imagine living? No, I cannot imagine it all. Boom, boom, boom. Thank you. You guys are awesome. I appreciate it. These dogs, I'm telling you, these dogs are just, they're just, Josh, you can do After Dark, just do 399.1. Yeah, we're coming up on the 400th episode of the After Dark. So if you want to sub to that, please do. And let's see, on Zillow, there's a door that allegedly leads to an attic. So like a crawl space. I got you. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it.
A federal appeals court has already told us that Chris McDonough's interrogation tactics crossed the line once in a case where the kids turned out to be innocent. Now he's on YouTube, using the same behavioral decoding and provocation mindset on a missing child's family in real time for an audience of lab rats and interview room fans. You don't have to like the Proudfoots to see the risk. If McDonough is wrong again, this stream doesn't just analyze behavior. It helps smear a mom and a stepdad in a case where the only person who can't answer back is Sebastian. This video isn't legal advice, and it's not accusing anyone of a crime. It's a commentary on patterns, from the Crowe interrogation room to modern YouTube true crime, and what happens when we let one man's gut stand in for evidence.